and start the screen share. All right. Everybody good? Can everyone see the screen here? Okay, awesome. All right. Hey guys, my name is Vanessa Fernandez, and I'm really excited to talk to you guys today about blogging as a coach, which is actually kind of hilarious because I don't really consider myself a very good blogger or very knowledgeable on the subject. But I actually have gotten a lot of challengers and coaches through my blog, and I've gotten a lot of questions about it. So here we go, blogging as a coach. Before I begin, I typically like to start all of my team calls with an affirmation. And this is just something to kind of, I know we're all coming from busy days and busy weeks, and there's so much on our mind. And so I like to just take a moment and do an affirmation before we begin the team call, just to get ourselves in the right mindset to receive everything we can from the call. So the affirmation I have for us today just says, this evening is about growing, embracing the truth that where we are today is not where we want to be, but tonight can be a springboard to take us to greater heights than we can imagine. We open our hearts and minds to the great potential that lies within. So when it comes to something like blogging, that is it can be such an overwhelming and giant topic, especially if you have never blogged before, but you want to. It could definitely be overwhelming, but I want to just pause all of the freakouts that may be happening, or as I go through the material, might be coming up in your mind, and just affirm that, okay, I want to be somewhere else. I maybe want to start a successful blog, and I don't need to freak out that I don't have it all figured out today. I don't need to figure out that I don't have it all today, but today can be a great step in that direction. So that's our affirmation. All right, a little bit about me. My name is Vanessa Fernandez. Like I said, I'm a Diamond Beachbody coach, and I am a mom to 3 of the best kids in the world. I really, really love my kids. They're just genuinely like my favorite people. We have a lot of fun together, and I have an awesome husband who's a teacher. We live here in Miami, Florida. And I really, really love lots of things, but I love food. I'm kind of a foodie. I love fashion, and I'm sort of attempting to be a minimalist in both of my food and my fashion, and pretty much all of my life, trying to get down to the bare minimum of what is really necessary for a life well lived. So that's kind of a little bit about me. I did have an awesome transformation with the 21-day fix. Who hasn't? And I lost about 30 pounds of baby weight in 3 months. So that was super excited. That's kind of what got me started on my journey. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. And I have a blog. So I started my blog when I became a coach. And I started with about, actually, I checked my stats today. I started with about 26 views on my blog day one, which even seems high to me. Like, who are these 26 people that even read my blog on day one? But I checked, and now I'm averaging about 2,000 views a day. So if my blog over the past year has, and even 2,000 views is really not a lot for anybody who knows anything about blogging, but to see it grow like that in 1 year is kind of exciting. So that's a little bit about me and my story. So let's jump into it. Why would we even blog? Like, what's the point? Why is it beneficial to have a blog? So my favorite reason is that it really saves time. I love having a blog because it's like this little capsule of information where once I blog it, it's there, and I can always refer back to it. And as a coach, I'm sure you guys know, you get asked the same questions over and over and over again. What's a challenge group? What's the 21-day fix? What do you eat on the 21-day fix? What results did you get? What's coaching? On and on and on. And when you start getting a question over and over, that is a little like sign that you should blog about it, because then you don't have to keep answering it over and over, but you can say, that's an awesome question. I actually wrote a blog post about it. Here is a link. And so that is probably my favorite reason why you should have a blog. And it definitely does save time. And it just kind of gives you some legitimacy for some reason. When people see that like it's on a blog, it seems like you know what you're talking about. So there's one reason. Another reason why you should blog is it really helps people to find you, which is probably why most people would be most interested in making a blog. So when people search on Google, they search on Pinterest, they are going to and definitely, if you are going to be having a message and you're writing something, you definitely want to know who you're writing to. So I don't have time to go into this, but you definitely, before you start your blog, if that's something that you want to do, you should have a well-defined niche market. You should know who this person is that you're talking to. Who is this girl, as I call it with my team? What does she like? Where? What does she eat? Where does she go? You know, taking a little bit of time to figure out who you're writing to is going to go a long way in helping her find you. Because then you can start writing posts that would be of interest to her and that she would actually search for in Google or on Pinterest. So me, for example, one of my best blog posts is about breastfeeding and losing weight. Lose the weight, not the milk, is kind of like my post that I get a lot of girls coming to me from, because that's who I am. That's what I was searching for, and I couldn't find the answer. So I decided to kind of become the answer and fill in that information gap that I found as I was searching. And now a lot of people find me because they're also searching for that same thing. I'm writing to a specific person. So I definitely would encourage you to, just a little sidebar, to know who you're writing to. That's going to really help you a lot. All right, another reason why you would blog is because your blog kind of becomes this value-adding library. And we always talk about adding value, that as a coach, we always want to give people just great information. We want to give them great tips. We want to give them great recipes, things that would make them say, gosh, I want to see what Vanessa's posting next, because what she posted before helped my life so much that I want to know what she's going to say next. So having a blog is really this value-adding library. I love to use internal links in my blog, and all that means is that if I'm writing a recipe blog post, let's say, at the very end I might say something like, this recipe fits really well into the 21-Day Fix eating plan. And 21-Day Fix eating plan, I will have that be an internal link that will take them to my blog post on what is the 21-Day Fix. So I'm kind of like keeping them on my page. I'm keeping them reading stuff that I've written, and I now have this library that they can just spend quite a bit of time on my site, because I have resources that build off of each other. And that can just really build credibility for me as a coach, that the more value that I'm adding to them, the more that they're going to want to reach out to me and have me help them. Then I can also use my blog to direct people to my other social media platforms, like my Facebook page, my Instagram account, my Pinterest page, and even my web page that has a lot of great information there too. So just a few reasons why I think it's valuable for you to invest time in a blog. Because guys, if you're gonna blog, it will take time and it will take work. So definitely have in your mind that, okay, there's a reason why I'm doing all this work, because it's not easy necessarily to do a blog. I mean, it's not super hard, but you definitely have to be working at it. So I think it's worth it. I think it's worth the work. Where do you start? If you want to do a blog, where should you start? So I would recommend either starting with WordPress or Blogger, and there's kind of like this big debate which one is better. Basically, from what my research says, Blogger is going to be easier and it's going to be quicker, but it's not as customizable. WordPress takes a little bit to learn, but you can do more with it, and it's like completely customizable. There's tons of plugins. I'm not going to get into the whole debate now, but if you are more of a beginner when it comes to online technology, things like that, I would recommend just going with Blogger. And if you have a little bit of skills in that area, I think WordPress is going to give you more in the long run as far as like customizing things. So if you want to go with Blogger, just go to blogger.com. You can set up your site literally in like 5 minutes. For WordPress, you can go to wordpress.com. Also, howtomake-my-blog.com, I felt like had a lot of great information when it came to WordPress blogs. Now, if you want to make your blog really pretty, they have obviously just kind of regular themes that you can choose. But I thought a great tip was you can search Etsy and find designers that will make either a customized theme for your blog, or they have some that they've already designed that you can pay a little bit of money for, but it's not like you have to pay as much as if you were to have like a designer on retainer for you to just design whatever you want. So that's kind of, I thought that was a cool option. A lot of people aren't sure what to name their blog, and I highly recommend just using your name. I think that as you begin to grow as a coach, really your brand is you. So you don't have to really come up with a super catchy name. Like all of the big coaches that we know and love and follow, Melanie Mitro, Lindsay Matway, Anita Myron, like we know them for their name. They are their brand. So I would really recommend just going with your name. But obviously you can do whatever you want, your blog. Also, I just kind of put in there Squarespace. I'm not really that familiar with Squarespace, but I love all the designs that Squarespace has. As I said, I'm a minimalist, so they have just gorgeous designs out there. I'm really not sure technically how easy it is to use or how it all works, but if you are a big fan of minimalist design, you might want to check out Squarespace. So that's where you start. Now, what is essential to have on your blog? Absolutely, you need an about me on your blog. Seems kind of simple, but here are 3 kind of great examples of a good about me part in your blog, because people really do, they're coming to your blog because they want to know more about you, or because you've offered something of value to them, and then they want to know more about you. So you want to keep it super simple. Melanie Mitro is the queen of this. She is just no fuss, no muss. I'm a mom of 2 boys, ages 2 and 4. 2 years ago, blah, blah, blah. You can see there what she wrote. I love Becca's, obviously. Who doesn't love everything that Becca does is awesome. But I just love how she just throws in very casual humor. She throws in things about how she loves yoga, getting her groove back, and just she makes it very conversational. And then the third one there is mine, which, it isn't that great, but I touch on pretty much all the main things of myself without having to like write a book. So just keeping it short, informative, casual, sort of gives somewhat of your personality. All right, moving on. I definitely would say that required content on your blog is to have a link where you can link to have people make you their free coach. That should be in the coaching codes that you have. There's a direct link that people can click on to make you their free coach. You definitely want that pretty prominent on your blog, because so people are going to find your blog for a variety of reasons, whether it's a recipe or an article. But you always want to capitalize on that connection that they've made with you and take it a step further. So having links like make me your free coach, or subscribe to my blog, or follow me on other social media platforms, having that very easy for them to do is key, because you don't want to just lose that person. You don't want them to just come to your blog and say, oh, that was a great recipe, and then move on. You want to continue to connect with them and take your relationship to the next level. So those are definitely 3 things that you should really have very prominent on your blog. So now you've got your blog. Let's say you picked Blogger. You've written a little about me. You've got it easy for them to make you their free coach and subscribe to your blog. So now what do you write? I recommend that you definitely write things that you would want to read on somebody else's blog. So what do you search for? What do you like to see? What kind of content is valuable to you? Things like recipes or how-tos. So I've written blogs on how to food prep, how to work with young kids around, how to wake up early and get your workouts in. Things that like I would really be interested to know. And then also throwing in there aspects of your personality. It doesn't have to all be Beachbody all the time. I've blogged about different crafts I do with my kids or how I build my wardrobe for a certain season. So that's just that's something that would appeal to my girl, as I spoke on before, finding your niche and what your girl is and writing things that she would really search for, want to read about, and would be of value to her. And then I kind of spoke on this before, you definitely want to maximize each encounter. So you always want to give a call to action at the end of every post, whether it's message me for more information on this program, watch this video, subscribe to my email list, follow me on whatever, click here to order. I did a team call last week for my team, and I basically was telling them, like, you have to ask for what you want. And it's not being bossy to say, you know, if you love this recipe and you think the 21-day fix would be an awesome fit for you, click here to order and be registered for my next challenge group. Like, you have to be clear about what you want, and that's just part of leadership, is helping people to know what the next step is, what you recommend would be the best for them. So don't be bashful about really giving a clear call to action at the end of all of your blog posts, even if it's just follow me on Instagram for more about this aspect of my life. That is going to just help people to know what to do next and continue your relationship with them. You definitely, on every blog post that you do, you definitely want to have a picture. I feel like this is a non-negotiable. And a lot of people like to, use stock photos. I really hate using stock photos. I feel like I can spot a stock photo a mile away. And it doesn't necessarily, you don't have to be a great photographer, but I definitely think you should take your own pictures when at all possible. I am like the laziest blogger ever, so I just take them on my phone. So for example, I think I did a post recently about like living life by design. So I just took my phone outside, the sun was behind me, and I just kind of like smiled at the camera with like the sun flare behind me, and then pulled it into Over, which is an app that I have, and typed on top, life by design, live life by design. So just having a picture, putting a title. I should put my blog address as a watermark on all my pictures. I don't, but I definitely should, and you should, and I will in the future. Because then when you're ready to share that blog post with other people, you have an image that not only is eye-catching and will make people look at what you're doing and what you have to offer, but it's also something that you can pin onto Pinterest. And you really want to have that title on your image, because people can mess around with the actual title of whatever they're pinning. And so you can't always depend upon just typing in the title of your blog in the comments, but you want it on the image itself. So no matter where it gets pinned or how many times it gets pinned, it has very clearly what your blog post is about, so that people know what it is and it will draw them in to want to read. So definitely always have pictures, put the title on your picture. Canva is a great resource. They actually have, if you haven't used canva.com, they have actually templates for if you want to post something on Pinterest, what is the optimal dimensions and resolution for something on Pinterest. So if you don't want to just use your phone, you can take a picture on your phone and then upload it to Canva and then put the graphics on top, and it's already going to be formatted perfectly for Pinterest. So that is a little tip. Now when it comes to Pinterest, pin everything. Pin every blog post that you have. You can even pin a blog post multiple times. If I have a really popular blog post, I'll pin it once and then I'll pin it a couple days later or a week later onto a different board like maybe healthy living and then healthy recipes if I have 2 different boards. Just pin like crazy, and even ask people, repin this if this is helpful for you. Again, ask for what you want. And then Selena had a great, she should be leading this call, honestly, guys. I don't even know what I'm doing here. But when she shares her blogs on Facebook, she has a link to her blog, and then she has a link to the actual pin, which I think is brilliant, because then people can just save it to their pin board for later, and that pin is now shown to all their friends, and their friends might think that that's a cool blog post as well, and on it goes, and it just spreads like wildfire. So that's a great idea, is that if you're going to share like on Facebook, hey guys, I just wrote this new blog post, you can read it here, or you can pin it here to read later, and you give them 2 different links. If that's confusing to you, go to Selena's Facebook page. Maybe she can put it in the chat, and take a look at some of her posts as to how she does that. She does an awesome job. Okay, now this is kind of my writing process of how, I know I spoke a little bit about like what should you write, things that you would be interested, but exactly how to write a blog post is, I'm going to give you a super quick, and guys, really, I'm just scratching the surface on all of this. I feel like I'm breezing through so much of it, but hopefully this gives you at least an overview, and then at the end, I'm going to give you some more resources that you can dig into a little bit deeper. So, quick overview of my writing process. I let life inspire me. So if I am, packing up a bunch of snacks with my 21-day fix containers to go on a play date, I'll just have a little thought like, hey, it's kind of second nature to me now. I've been doing the 21-day fix for a year, but this might be really overwhelming to someone who's just starting the 21-day fix. Oh my gosh, I'm going to be out of the house all day. How do I pack my food? So I'll kind of like make a little note in my Evernote on my phone. I use Evernote a lot. And I'll just write, packing 21-day fix food for a play date. And so all throughout my day, as I'm going through life, if I have an idea, I'll just save it on my Evernote. And that's my second point. Capture that inspiration. Don't let it just like float in your mind and float out. Really write it down. And then if I know that I'm going to blog, let's say tomorrow, I will actually look through my topics, and then I'll say, you know what, I think this one is going to be what I blog on tomorrow. The packing the food idea was really good. So reviewing it the night before, crazy things happen when you sleep, guys. Your brain actually goes to work on problems while you sleep. So take advantage of that. Like if you look at it the night before, turn off your phone, go to sleep, your mind subconsciously is going to be thinking of what you could write and thinking of what you could say and thinking of different snacks that you've packed before. And you're just going to kind of like wake up with much more inspiration because you've let your brain kind of like sleep on it. So that's kind of a cool tip. Then when you sit down to write, try to block out the internet. Because if you try to go back and forth between notifications and then back to your blog and then an email and then back to your blog, you're really going to lock yourself up because your brain is not going to be able to flow into the writing process. So try to block out the internet as much as you can. I know that there are different apps and sites that can even like literally black out your entire screen except for the little like rectangle that you're blogging in. I will look that up for you guys and I'll post it in the team page after the call is finished because I can't remember the name of it. But there's lots of different softwares and plugins that you can have that can really block out all of your notifications. So I highly recommend that. I like to put on music. It can't be music with lyrics, but I like to put on like for me, I like house music and electronica music. I don't know why, it just kind of like gets me in the writing mood. But put on some music and then try to write before you edit. So if you're writing about the packing food for your kids for a play date or for yourself, just write. Don't start second guessing. Is that a good sentence? Maybe I should say it this way instead, because the editing and the writing takes place on different sides of your brain. So if you go to the editing side of your brain, you're going to shut down the creative writing side of your brain. So just write, get it all out there. Even if it's garbage, just let it flow, because probably by the very end of your writing, you're going to come up with some pretty great things. But if you shut it down by editing too soon, you'll never get there. So get it all out there, write, go back, edit. And then once you've got your post done, share like crazy. Share it on your Facebook page, share it on your Facebook like page, Twitter, share the little image that you created on Instagram, obviously pin it, share it like crazy, because if you put the effort into writing this blog post, it's because you think it would really help people, and you got to get it out there so that people can actually see it and appreciate it. So that's kind of my writing process in a nutshell. Okay, now this is huge for blogging. You have to be consistent. You super have to be consistent. Like if you're going to start a blog, you have to blog, I would say 3 times a week, no less than once a week. Don't ever let a full week, all right, we got 10 minutes. Don't ever let a full week go by that you don't post anything, even if it's just like an inspirational post from Pinterest and, 2 sentences, to just inspire somebody. Like definitely you want to be consistent. Some people, in order to do this, will batch write a bunch of blog posts. Like if they have a chunk of time that they're able to devote to their blogging, and then they'll schedule out their posts. I've never been personally this way because I never have large chunks of time to work on anything. But that could be something that might be helpful for you if you feel like you have like larger chunks of time on the weekend, and you can maybe just crank out 3 posts and then you're good for the week. But definitely consistency is key. And here's why, guys, because, Google, they're going to be looking at your blog, and, when people search for different things, they'll pull up your blog posts if that is appropriate to the search. But they're not going to pull up your blog posts if your blog is kind of dead, if there's no activity, if there's not regular posting. The more you're posting on your blog, the more that Google is like, okay, this is a happening blog. This is an active blog. So your posts are going to be found when people search for things. So that's why it's just so important to be consistent, and also it builds credibility. If I go to a blog and they haven't blogged in like 2 months, maybe I'll read the one article, but I'm not going to snoop around. I'm not going to be excited. I'm not going to subscribe to this person's blog because I'm like, well, they're not really doing anything. So it's definitely super, super important to be consistent. Okay. I'm sorry to say that we have like 8 minutes left, and I wasn't able to get Becca's account, so I'm on my account, which only gives us 30 minutes. But if you guys have any questions, I'm going to go ahead and stop the share. This is just a slide with where you can find all of my social media stuff. If you want to check out my blog, it's vanfernand.wordpress.com, and you can kind of see what I've done. Again, please don't judge, guys. I'm really not a great blogger, but these are just things that I've learned along my journey, and I hope that they will help you guys a little bit. Okay, so we have 7 minutes left. And oh, good, Selena. I'm so glad that you definitely were chiming in there. So yeah, do you guys have any questions that I can answer really quickly, or even anything that, even if I don't have the answer, I could maybe direct you to some resources that I've come across? I am going to be posting in the team page a team call that Nikki Johnson did. She's a Beachbody coach. She's one of Becca's success partners. She did a team call on blogging as a coach that was awesome. She goes into like SEO optimization and plugins for WordPress, and if none of that makes any sense to you, that's totally fine. But she kind of like really goes into a little bit more like advanced stuff. That's pretty cool. And then there's also another podcast by Michael Hyatt on how he writes his blog posts in 70 minutes or less. And I write my blog posts like super quick, but my blog posts are like stupid baby blog posts compared to what he writes. But his process is very, very awesome. So I'm going to post all those resources so that you guys can dig more into that if blogging is something that you really feel like you want. to do. Courtney, I can post the slides also in the team page. I'll just make a big old post on the team page with like link heaven, all the resources that you guys could possibly need to do this. And I really, guys, truly, I really like think that blogging is an awesome thing to do, even if it's not like this huge source of coaches and challengers for you, just for the fact that you can store so much information there. I know that Tara Lee Davis, she actually uses her blog almost as a web page. So she has a couple of static pages on her blog that one of them just is about the 21-day fix, and she has an application there. So your blog can really be a powerful like home base for a bunch of stuff. And the cool thing is that you really can't pin from your Facebook. You can't pin a post on Pinterest from Facebook. Google is not gonna find a random post that you did on Facebook for someone who's searching for how to lose baby weight while they're breastfeeding, but they will find a blog post. So that's where, like, yes, Facebook pages are awesome, but if you want to just attract people from the cold market, they're only going to search things that are findable, and blog posts are findable. So that's why I think it's really important to do a blog. But if it's going to be overwhelming to you, you know, don't be overwhelmed by this. Start one day at a time. Honestly, like I said, I had like 26 people who viewed my blog a year ago, or 26 views. It might have just been me like double checking for typos 26 times. I don't know. But it's really grown for me, and I love having a spot on the web where I can just store all my stuff and reference it later. All right. Well, if there's no more questions, I am going to let you guys go a little early, I guess. Our calls always seem to go partying late into the night. But I will definitely get on our team page and start giving you guys a bunch of resources so you guys can start building awesome blogs and finding people who are like you. So, all right. Peace. Bye, guys. Oh, Courtney has a question. What was your question, Courtney? About the slides?
It's unrelated. Just, I was wondering, I've been trying to do PD, and I'm looking for access to webinars. Do you know where I might find that?
Webinars on personal development?
Just in general, like I want to use them for personal development.
Is there a specific topic that you're wanting to dig into with personal development, like leadership or confidence, or?
Both those things sound good.
Okay. My go-to personal development for leadership right now is the Michael Hyatt podcast. It's called This Is Your Life. I just love everything that he does and says and is in general. But as far as webinars, gosh, I don't know. I love the National Wake Up Calls also. It's a podcast, and that is like awesome personal development for me. I don't know if you guys, Shalene Johnson has awesome stuff. Oh, also, okay, Scotty Hobbs, his website, he has like all of the bombshell calls recordings, and then he has like a bunch of like bonus trainings for like diamond and star diamond trainings. It is like a freaking wealth of information that I was just looking at, and I was like, why have I not watched all of these? Like every single one, I was like, ooh, that looks good. Ooh, that looks good. So also old Summit videos, absolutely. Those are all great. So yeah, there's a lot out there. Thankfully, we have an awesome team, the Bombshell Dynasty, that has like tons of great training. So,
also,
okay, well, it looks like our time.
Sorry, if you want something really fast, you can do Darren Daly's as well. They're like 3-minute videos, but they're really good too.
Darren Daly's. Amazing. Thank you.
Yeah. Cool. All right, guys. Bye. Love you all.
Bye.